History is complex, and representations are there to make the audience understand the historical event that had taken place. The definition of representation is the portrayal of something in a particular way. Representations allow for the interpretation of an historical event to be transmuted. The representation I'll be looking at is the film Schindler's List, directed by Steven Spielberg, who himself is Jewish, made aware of the Holocaust after his parents told him that they had lost 16 relatives during the Holocaust, and so he wanted to best represent an event that affected his family. Spielberg would have understood the complexity around the film through research and created an accurate representation using selective and deliberate visuals for the film, in a manner to which he felt will fully broadcast the event. Schindler rescues Stern from a train departing to a concentration camp after Stern had forgotten his essential workers card. There is the noticeable image of golden teeth emptied in front of a Jewish jeweler and his distressed look. And finally, the concurrence of events with Gust's encounter with Helen in the cellars, a Jewish wedding in the concentration camp, and a singing performance dedicated to his birthday. Representations are a medium that everyone can easily understand and are made for the general audience. They are presented to us in an interesting and informative manner, and are highly engaging yet very important in conveying the message. They revolve around the point of the protagonist, to which they can make a connection towards. When Stern forgets his essential workers card and is deported to a concentration camp, Schindler immediately chases after him and forces the train to stop, and we begin to see this transition of Schindler from being a war profiteer after exploiting his workers with no pay to being an unlikely hero of rescuing Stern.
My plant manager is somewhere on this train.
Whilst Schindler and the train conductor are talking, Spielberg utilizes an angled dolly shot behind a fence and is used to show how they are arguing about the list. The wired fence shows the confined position that both Schindler and the Jews are in the train are in. It also shows us the trapped, inhumane conditions on the train, and Spielberg wants to make the audience watching from the outside the fence not exposed to any of the action inside the fence. Through Schindler's determination in looking after his employees, this is foreshadowing the fact that he will save more lives. However, this will come at a greater cost, and he'll use his persuasive ways to convince people to do what he wants. Representations use a wide variety of aspects and visual elements to help us understand their complexity, as the visuals are right in front of us. Schindler's List displays appropriate visuals to which Spielberg feels will communicate the circumstance. It breaks down complication because the visual element is depicted from that time, which Spielberg went to great lengths to show the audience that everything they see from the film you'd expect to see from World War II. Spielberg employs a mid-shot of a Jew, showing the fact that he was a jeweler who is in shock and in complete dismay over a pile of gold teeth being dumped on his table, and his job was to make use of it. The expression captures his knowledge of the suffering experienced to obtain the teeth that would have been painfully plucked from living or dead Jews. These shots were used to show the extent as to how real people were looted off, and how many people's livelihoods and all that they had was lost in order to fund the Nazi Party's war efforts. The audience is stunned at the pile of valuables that meant so much to the Jews, deceived with the promise of their...
Leave your luggage on the platform. Clearly label it. Maiden name first, then your surname. Do not bring your baggage with you. It will follow you later.
Spielberg exactly wanted to represent how he envisioned it, to set the environment. This realism helps to break down the complexity because it helps the audience to visualize and see in front of them as if they were witnessing the event right in front of them. Representations come from different viewpoints. Many people were involved and affected. They help to show the full story, with these events effectively displaying it as happening at the same time. Representation uses an element of emotions and techniques to help us better understand a historical event through characters' emotions, which we can relate to, with us ourselves being able to replicate these emotions. Through the wedding within the campgrounds, with the kissing and celebratory scenes of the wedding, we are able to see the Jewish people's idea that, despite what's happening to them, they attempt to live normally. When Goth goes down to the cellars and talks to a very vulnerable Helen, who is bathing, we are able to see Goth's true intentions. He comments on
a well-trained servant. I mean it.
However, struggles with himself in expressing his feelings to a Jew. He has a sudden switch and beats her for making him attracted to her, even though she hadn't uttered a single word, crossing between the singing performance dedicated to Schindler's birthday. Spielberg successfully makes use of the technique of cross-cutting, with three events being played out simultaneously, showing us more under the surface and breaking up the complexity. These successfully represent the notion that whilst people were having a good time, someone somewhere else was suffering without their control. With these character interactions, the audience is able to capture
you
the
can't
situation
hide from
and the mindset from that time period.
Came to tell you.
Through the analysis of Schindler's List, I had to ask, why is history complex? And how does Schindler's List, being a film representation, effectively use appropriate visuals to perfectly advocate the story of the Schindler Jews? Because Schindler's List is in the form of a film representation, it is structured to be able to follow as a movie with a dolly shot behind the fence when Schindler is looking for Stern in the station, used to emphasize the Jews and Schindler's constricted position. The movie, using aspects of visual elements, sets the scene as to how exactly it was like, and the mid-shot of a jeweler looking at a pile of golden teeth with a look of horror perfectly captures. Representations cover a wide variety of aspects of people's lives, their emotions, and their behaviour with other people, and can help in seeing the whole picture through cross-cutting, coexisting events. And through understanding this complexity, we are able to see the full effects of the historical event right in front of us, and serves as a dedication and timely reminder to show how the saving of the Schindler Jews and show how this miraculous event came to be.